Fall comes every year, and essentially it's always pretty much the same. You know, beautiful colors, then the leaves turn brown, the winds blow, the leaves fall to the ground, creating a lot of work for you and me, raking the leaves, disposing of the leaves. But yet there's a certain beauty about fall. The colors, there's a certain majesty about fall. The broadness of the change, the depth of the change from one season to the next. So it's just a special time of year. Even though it's always the same, it never becomes mundane. And for me, I think the reason why is found in Scripture. There's a certain passage that just speaks to, for me, to fall, that says a lot about what happens this time of year. And it goes something like this. It says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky displays what his hands have made. One day tells a story to the next. One night shares knowledge with the next. Without talking, without words, without their voices being heard. Yet, their sound has gone out into the entire world. Their message to the end of the earth. He has set up a tent in the heavens for the sun. You can't experience a fall. You can't get out in the trees and witness the change, the color and the beauty of fall without declaring glory. And that glory belongs only to God. Hey, thanks for watching. Up next is my fall. Hey, shutter clickers. Last week I did a test on a Sigma lens, and while I was out shooting, I noticed that the sun was just right and displaying a lot of colors. So I wanted to do fall in my own backyard. And I know the grand vistas are really pretty and really beautiful, but you know, not all of us. Maybe some of you can't get out to those grand vistas, and maybe you need to shoot fall in your own backyard. Well, as I did, I wanted to show you that it can be done, and you can get some really stunning and dramatic pictures. Now, I'm making this video a week later because the sun was fading so fast, I didn't have time to go in and get this video camera. I just had to take the pictures. And before I could get all the pictures taken, the sun was gone, and I took some that where there was no sun. And I'll show you the difference in how much light makes when it's right and shining through the trees and exposing the beautiful colors of fall. So let's turn the camera around and I'll walk you through where we took the pictures and what we are doing. This first picture I was trying to get was this little bush right here. Actually what it is some sweet gum trees that we're trying to kill. And they sprouted up and they made kind of a neat little cluster of trees here. And then in the background here, there's an even bigger sweet gum. Now when I took the pictures, there was a lot more leaves on them, and the sun was coming over the top of the trees like that. And so, you know, but I didn't want to get the house in. I didn't want to get that house in. I kind of wanted the little picket fence to be in there. And I wanted something kind of different, kind of unique. And what I did was, I got down real low, like this, with this rock in the foreground, and like that. Now I had a wide angle lens on, so I was able to get all this in the picture. And there was another rock over here. In fact, this is probably the one you'll see in the picture. And it looked like so. And I was shooting that way. And I got a couple of good shots before the light went. And then I hurried over this way. Around behind my house. This is my house, such as it is. And back behind the house here, as you can see coming up, there's some beautiful hickory trees. Now hickory, the leaves are big and kind of egg-shaped, and hickory turns bright yellow. Makes just a, kind of like aspen. It just turned bright yellow like that one right there. Boy, what a beautiful color. Now, this is really pretty. That wasn't the one I was shooting though. The one I was shooting is over here. And you can see it through the trees there. And I was standing right about here when I shot it. Let me zoom in a little bit. It was just a gorgeous tree the other day, and the sun was coming from the side and it was shining on that tree. It was absolutely beautiful, but there's a lot of clouds, and it took me a good hour to get this series of pictures. I think there's a total of 7 pictures I'm going to show you. It took a good hour to get them because of the clouds. The sun kept disappearing, and I took a couple of shots of this tree especially where the sun wasn't shining on it, so I could just show you how much difference light makes. But with the fence kind of a leading line, and with the green still on the trees in the background, and the little tree here in the foreground turning yellow, and then this tree over here wasn't ugly brown yet, it made kind of a nice picture. Then I come around this way and I shot that tree over there, and I wanted to frame it with these 3 trees in the foreground here. You can see 3 trees there, and that's a Bradford, I think it's Bradford, it's a pear tree anyway, but I've never picked any pears off of it. But they turn absolutely gorgeous in the fall. And I tell you, that tree was so brilliant that I was tempted to desaturate the color in the pictures, because you'd think I was saturating the color, faking the tree. But that tree looks like that. Just amazing. Then after that, I'm not going to walk way over there, but I walked over there where you see that culvert on the pond. I was over there by that, and I was shooting across the pond. I got the fountain in the pond, and then I got the pear tree. And again, the sun was coming and going, but eventually we got a picture. We got some nice reflection. And I'll talk about all these pictures as I go through them and show them to you. So let's go to the pictures and just see what they look like. This first recording, our first picture, is a butterfly that I took when I was reviewing the Sigma 150 to 600. I just really liked the picture, so I thought I'd show it to you, how clear and sharp it is. I just think it's a neat picture. Anyway, let's get to fall. Here's my first fall picture. This is a close-up. I shot this at ISO 400, 85mm, f5.6 at 1/100th of a second. Now, the light was coming from behind it, it's backlit, and the clouds had opened up, big hole in the sky here. And I almost considered desaturating this because I didn't think anybody would believe the sky was that blue. But it was that blue. So I thought it made an interesting picture, almost kind of an abstract. It just shows what you can do when the subject is backlit, how everything else kind of is shaded out and blends into the background. This turned out, I thought, kind of a neat picture. It looks like they're electrified, almost glowing in themselves. This picture, the clouds kind of returned. It was kind of cloudy bright, but the sun was just barely peeking through. I shot this at ISO 200, 35mm f/22 at a half a second. I shot this off my back porch. It could have been a little sharper if I had opened my shutter up just a little more and shot at a faster speed. There was just a little bit of breeze, and so it kind of ruined it. But still, the picture has that look of almost being lit up because of the backlight. Next picture, here's the one out by the rock I was telling you about in the video. The sun was peeking through. It was coming from this upper area here. It's kind of side lit, not really backlit, but it had kind of a little interest. Got the big rock in the foreground, and the trees are in good full color, so it made kind of a nice picture. This was also at ISO 200, 35mm f/22 at a half second. Next picture is the pond with the pear tree in the background. Now, I slowed this down to 1/4 of a second. I wanted to soften the fountain. As you can see, the fountain's kind of crooked. That's because the wind is blowing real hard right now. The camera was level. It's the wind that's blowing the water off. But I wanted to leave the ripples in because there's no foreground here, and I thought the ripples kind of added a little foreground interest, and they kind of made the reflection a little more interesting. And again, look how brilliant the tree is. That is not saturated. That is actually the way that tree looked. And you can see there's a few clouds in the background. The sky kind of opened up. The sun is coming from this direction. It's getting late in the afternoon, so we're getting a little bit of glow from the evening sun. Made for a very nice shot. Okay, this picture is when there is no light. This is without light. The sun went behind the cloud, and I took this picture just so I could show you the difference between this one and the next one. This is ISO 100, 55mm, 20 f/22 and 0.6 seconds. There was no light. The wind was breezy. Again, I wished I'd have opened the shutter up and shot at a faster speed to get the leaves tack sharp, but I didn't, and that's what we got. Okay, this picture, the sun came out, and it's kind of backlit from side light, and it was just a hole in the clouds there where the sun finally came out. I stood there for about a half hour waiting for this to happen. I don't know whether it's worth it or not. You decide that. But this is also at ISO 100, 55mm f/22 at a half second. But you can see how much difference light makes between this picture and this picture. There's no comparison. When the sun is right, how brilliant. Look, even the foreground here is lit up compared to this. Looks dead. There's no depth, where you get a lot of depth here. The darkness and the light, and then the light over here on the ground behind, and then of course the tree is just lit up immaculately. If I'd have just shot at a little faster shutter speed, it would have been a really nice picture. Here I'm framing the subject. This is again the pear tree. I turned around and took this picture. This is ISO 100, 55mm f/22 at 1/5 of a second. The framing of the trees highlights the subject, and the sun, of course, is behind me, although I am standing in the shade, and you can see some sun popping through here through the trees. And again, this was getting late in the afternoon,
so we got a little glow there from the sun. And again, it would have been sharper if I would have gone maybe F11 or F16 and stopped the motion of the leaves as I shot the picture. But that's my fall, and I hope you enjoyed the shots. And you too can get out in your backyard and find some nice fall pictures if you just take the time to look. Don't forget your composition. Get your rules of composition right. And most important of all, thanks for watching, and keep that shutter clicking.